Overfilled dumpster equals upset HOA lady. This is a 5-part saga that spans over 5 years. Got this from my HOA today. I know, when the dumpster is overflowing, let's not evaluate if we need another dumpster. Let's just yell at the people who live here. Notice, as all of you are aware, this past week the dumpster was once again left open and unlocked due to the irresponsible overfilling of garbage and large pieces of debris. We have asked numerous times in the past to not overfill the dumpster. It not only presents an unsightly scene within our community, but also creates other liability problems for the association and generates member complaints. We have a twice per week pickup schedule, Tuesdays and Fridays, and retain a large capacity trash bin to accommodate our residents, so there is no excuse for this to be happening at any time. The association cost to have this 2 pickup weekly schedule is $926 per month, so adding an additional dumpster is not a board consideration, nor is it necessary. Therefore, if on occasion you see that the dumpster is full, then take your trash back home with you and dispose of it when the dumpster has been emptied. It would also help if residents would not dispose of their trash in large boxes. Instead, use plastic bags. Boxes must be broken down before disposal. And, more importantly, do not put large pieces of furniture, building materials, and any of that type of debris in the dumpster unless it is broken down into very small pieces. If it can't be broken down into small pieces, then do not put it in the dumpster or on the outside of the dumpster. We expect everyone to cooperate regarding this matter and hope that this is the last time we have to address this issue. What this lady fails to realize is that the lock is broken and everyone already holds their trash for days at a time. Our very angry HOA president sends these out every once in a while. I'm not sure why they're so against another pickup or a second dumpster. Granted, in the HOA's defense, people do sometimes throw away stuff that they shouldn't, but this thing is constantly overfilling with just normal trash. We got another notice. To all residents. Twice now this week, the dumpster has been filled to overflow capacity. As you all know, we have sent out numerous notices warning that the trash company charges us an additional large fee when this is done. There is no excuse for this. We have a twice-a-week pickup schedule which is sufficient for this size community, and if the dumpster is full, hold your trash until the dumpster is emptied. As you've also been asked before, please cut up Christmas trees and garden trimmings into small pieces and break down boxes before putting them in the bin. That way, there is more room for additional trash. Please do not make us have to send out any more warnings regarding this issue. And another notice. To all residents. The board, on numerous occasions, has asked all of you to please not overload the dumpster, but it has apparently fallen on deaf ears. So you thoroughly understand why this is important, we have attached our current billing invoice, showing just how much our trash service has charged us within a 1-month period for overfilling the dumpster. As you can see, the amount for this month alone totals $264. Having to pay these large over-budget charges affects how we have to plan for other needed repairs or improvements. Again, and hopefully for the last time, we are requesting your cooperation by not overfilling the dumpster. We also ask that any resident who sees someone doing this to please report it to the board so that disciplinary action can be taken. Remember, this affects all of us, especially financially. The attached bill does show that we're paying over $1,000 a month for a 5-yard dumpster. That seems quite excessive to me, and even the trash provider's website says that it should cost roughly $400 after all the taxes and fees, so I'm not really sure what to make of that. I'm also not sure where she got the overage fee. It's pretty clearly listed as $176, not $264 in the bill. So I responded to the above email, and so did another person. This was the president's response. Hopefully this means progress. To the membership. I have already made contact and am waiting for a call back from our account manager, so please hold off from sending me any more emails regarding this issue. I will send out another notice when we make a determination of how to solve this problem. In the meantime, until I find out if we have any other alternatives, please do not overfill the dumpster. I just received this notice from our HOA president. To all residents, this is to notify you that we have negotiated a new contract with Waste Services. Changes which will take effect soon include the following. Container size will increase from the current 5-yard capacity to 6-yard capacity. Pickup schedule will change from the current 2 times per week on Tuesdays and Fridays to 3 times per week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Monthly rate will decrease from $1,125 to $660. All administrative, fuel, and franchise fees that we were paying were waived. However, a new City Waste Authority fee of 10% of our $600 base rate is mandatory. What has not changed is the dumpster lock. No new keys needed. Boxes and large items must still be broken down. Christmas trees and large pieces of shrubbery must still be cut into small pieces. And building materials and so on must be cut into smaller pieces. The attached trash container rules and banned waste materials and all of the above must be done before depositing into the trash container. No items of any kind are to be left outside around the dumpster. Because we do not have an enclosed container area, and so as to maintain an orderly community appearance, we also ask that everyone, please, take the time to make sure there is no spillage around the dumpster, and, if there is, please pick it up and deposit it in the dumpster. I am so happy that we have a proper resolution to this problem, but I am shocked that after all of these years, she never reached out to the trash company and instead just yelled at the residents. It was only after I suggested it a few days ago that she did it. The final update 5 years later. Not long after the contract was negotiated and the dumpster size increased, it was suddenly decreased without notifications to the membership, and the price started bouncing between $750 to $950 per month. Well, last week, I was elected president of the association. My first order of business? I called Republic and spoke to our account manager, something the previous board of 15 years never did, and I successfully doubled our dumpster capacity and cut our price down to $400, even for the next 2 years guaranteed. Nearly $5,000 a year I just saved by making a 10-minute phone call and a few emails. Look at this fallout. So if I'm reading this right, not only did you get a bigger dumpster and extra pickup, but also cut the price almost in half? That's daggone impressive. That's what it appears. I'm thinking this trash contract was set up an incredibly long time ago and was never renegotiated. Massive failure on the HOA's part. What do you think about this 5-year-in-the-making story? This shows persistence against the HOA Karens comes out on top. Wow. Fighting nail, board, and tooth, posted by Modern Man 09. There's a final update to this story as well. For context, my parents have lived in the same house since 2001. Before that, the house was owned by my father's sister. So, the home has been owned by my family since 1990. These are townhomes/condominiums. My father is a disabled person. I live on the other side of the country, but I'm staying with my dad until he is better. In late September, my dad had a stroke. He is still currently in a rehabilitation center working on his gross and fine motor skills. My father has been disabled since 2012, and this is his second major stroke. When this all happened, my uncle and I approached the HOA board about installing a ramp since he now requires a wheelchair to get around. At this time, the HOA informed us that my father was behind in his HOA fees. Big frickin' whoop. We paid them off and submitted the form to have the HOA approve the ramp construction. Once this was submitted, the stupid questions started. First off, is there any way for him to live without the ramp? Well, we had to re-explain what happened and why the ramp was medically necessary. He is currently only able to get up steps with the assistance of several people. Secondly, can his HOA violations be dealt with before the construction of the ramp is started? Well, he has 4 HOA violations that will require much more construction than time allowed. I told them no, but we would work on the violations after we got past this. Next, they said, is there any way the ramp could not encroach on the community area? Well, since the community is townhomes and condominiums, except for the inside of the home, stoop, and the back patio on each home, all the homeowners share ownership of the land. We explained how that would be impossible. We then had to explain how wheelchairs had wheels and that if the ramp was too steep, he would not be able to make it up. Is there any way you can ensure that the children don't play on the ramp? At this point, we got angry and told the board that there was no way for us personally to stop children from playing on the ramp, and they should control their own children. After this, they called us to discuss their last concern, which was, how will you ensure this will not reduce the valuation of all of our homes? We don't want our community to look like low-income housing. At this time, we had to just start throwing ADA and fair housing regulations at the board until they approved the ramp. For further information, half of the houses in the neighborhood are specifically set aside for Section 8 housing. While happy that they had approved the ramp, it only got worse. My uncle, cousin, and I have been building the ramp as fast as we can. This has meant, as we have stopped each night, they will take pictures of the semi-built structure and log it as a new violation. Thankfully, because we do have approved forms, I can get them resolved without much hassle. My uncle is a terminally ill cancer patient, and each night after I'm done building the ramp and going to check in on my dad in his rehab, I have to log onto my work laptop and do work to ensure that I can afford any costs that come up. Thankfully, my uncle is a retired government construction surveyor for ADA and fair housing occupancy, and I am an ASSP/OSHA safety professional, but all of this has been daunting. My dad comes home on Sunday, but I am terrified of further issues. An update. Hi all, thanks for all the advice. I appreciate it. The ramp is complete and he is home now. To answer a few questions and clarify. The ramp construction took some time because my uncle is guiding my cousin and I through the construction, and he is a terminally ill cancer patient. He is currently 3 years into a 3 to 5 expectancy, so we don't want him to overdo it. Next, I'm not sure where someone got that I was a girl, but I am a boy. I am my father's only son. I have seen this post being in contact with the news, lawyers, and a disability rights group. FHOA, first violation for dirty siding, posted by the Real Jubilee. I am unnaturally angry right now and I need to vent. Today I received a first notice violation because the siding on the side of our end of our group townhome is dirty and needs pressure washing. I actually agree that it needs to be done and I plan on it, but it simply has not been the priority for me. In all honesty, it's not that bad. You can't even tell it's dirty at a distance of 15 to 20 feet. But those are the rules, so I'll abide. But why am I angry, you ask? Well, they are citing community aesthetics, and that's what set me off. Our HOA dues cover full lawn maintenance, not the bushes and gardens, just the grass, which includes regular mowing and fertilizing for a lush yard. But all season, I haven't had grass. I've only had weeds, white clover, and no lush grass at all. Now, I probably waited too long to report this to the property manager, but I finally did 5 weeks ago. Here is the quick timeline. So I reported the issue, and the first response was a week later. Board member addressed this weeks ago. I replied within minutes, what was the address? I have nothing but weeds. The second response a week later says, send pics, and I replied within minutes, pics attached. I got no reply in a week, so I replied and CC'd in the board. Hey, can I get an update on this? It's getting worse. The board member from above replied within an hour. Well, I took care of this. We have no issue. I replied within minutes. I assure you this is not resolved. Please come over and let's look together. And the board member replied, no need, we will address it. About a week later, I still have no info, so I reply back, hey, can I have a status update? And then the property manager sends back, will be discussed during our next board meeting. The board meeting was a few days away, so I figured I'd join virtually. Turns out, a neighbor is allergic to the fertilizer and told the lawn maintenance crew, which was subcontracted out, that they need to stop. So there are a bunch of issues that I have with this. So first off, a single homeowner spoke to a vendor and got them to change the contract with them on the fly for her and all nearby homeowners without speaking to the board, property manager, or her neighbors. The lawn maintenance company appeased her without speaking to the board, property manager, or adjusting the cost in the contract, paying for fertilizer, but not getting fertilizer. The board and the property manager have clearly not been checking up on the lawn maintenance. This is our neighborhood's single largest expense at about 23% of our total annual dues. So it's been a week since the board meeting. During that meeting, the property manager stated that she would notify the affected owners, explain the situation, and provide how they plan to remedy that. We have not received that information. She hasn't even sent a note saying that they're aware of the issue. But now, since the issue is much larger than just me, I backed off bothering them, giving them time to work. But regardless, here we are 5 weeks later with zero information and zero progress. While I do understand that the board and the property manager are working on multiple things at once, and this is likely being addressed behind the scenes, I feel it is an extremely poor taste to violate homeowners over community aesthetics when the board and property manager hasn't even maintained a basic community aesthetic themselves. Someone asked OP how positive they were that they were responsible for this, and OP replied, "Yes, I'm positive. I read all the documents before we moved in. Each townhome maintains their own exterior. It's actually very common in my region. I previously lived under a terrible condo association. When I say terrible, I mean the worst. Embezzlement bad. Using HOA dues to renovate people's units bad. So I'm very sensitive about the do's and the don'ts in this neighborhood." Sick, but you still want me in? Okay. Posted by Hello, I is Clay. Someone else's puke story reminded me of this one. Back in the early 2000s, I worked at UPS loading trucks. I'd been there over a year and was well known throughout the building for picking up shifts and being a good worker, and had gained a bit of seniority in the union. Our normal shift was 5 hours, with anything over 25 hours a week being overtime, so I tried to pick up as many extra shifts as I could. Anyone working in a union shop knows that a lot runs on union seniority, and picking up the extra shift at UPS was the same way. Most seniority got first pick, and it went down the line until the shifts were filled. Early on, I made a reputation of working my butt off, so some of the shift soups would delay asking for a fill-in until some of the senior guys left. As could be expected, this upset a couple people when they got passed over, and I got some FaceTime with the union reps on every shift. Ultimately though, this just led to me becoming friends with the reps and doesn't have any bearing on this story until later. So, as I mentioned, I had a reputation through a lot of the soups of busting my butt, working hard, and always being available. That said, my normal shift soup hated me for some reason. I think it was because he was an old retired military vet, and I was a punk 18-year-old with hair down to my shoulders, piercings, and I didn't give a crap about impressing him in any way, except through loading trucks. With us butting heads, I'd brought up a couple of issues with my union rep friends, but nothing was ever serious enough to push the issue. That is, until I got sick. I was in that state where things were coming out of both ends non-stop. I wasn't getting out of bed for anything if I could help it, so I called in. UPS policy at the time was, as long as you let the soup know something like an hour or more before a shift, it wasn't considered a no-call, no-show. I called right at the hour mark, and my soup told me if I didn't come in, I was going to be written up for no call. Malicious compliance time. I rolled up to the warehouse looking like death. I decided to load up on fluids on the way in preparation for loading trucks after a day of non-stop puking and, yeah. We had to go through security and metal detectors before a half-mile walk to the building and then another quarter-mile or so to my load once inside. Those fluids started coming on up just through security, and I also had to stop in the building on the way to my load to avail myself of the commode. At my load, my soup started going over pre-shift crap while I'm standing towards the back next to a trash can. Those that hadn't been near me on the walk-in had already heard about my compliance, so I had a nice ring of free space around me when I started projectile vomiting into the trash can and over the surrounding area. Immediately, my soup shut down the meeting, told everyone to go to work, then asked me what the F I was doing there in that condition. "Oh gee, I don't know, soup. It may have had something to do with you telling me I'd be written up if I come in." I got sent home. Does the story end there? Would I still be typing if it did? The effer decided to still write me up for a no-call, no-show. I WTF'd him when he handed me that write-up, and he said to take it up with the union if I had a problem. Okay, ding ding, round 2. Remember those union rep friends that I'd made from picking up shifts and working my butt off? Yup, I went in search of one and had a chat. He had already heard about my ordeal, a mile worth of warehouse space, and word still traveled faster than it would have if we shared a cubicle, and he knew that I had been in the warehouse puking, and if I was there, how could I have not shown up? And if my soup was the one that sent me home after I showed up, how could the write-up be my fault at all? so he roped in HR. HR was involved in all the official write-ups and hadn't heard the story, but was aware of the write-up. So union rep and I told her the story. She called down and asked the soup to come over to her office, and he came and recounted the same story. When asked if I'd called, he said yes. If asked if I'd still showed, he said yes. When asked if he sent me home, he reiterated that he had. When asked how I could be a no-call, no-show when I'd called, showed, and been sent home, he didn't have an answer. I was dismissed to go back to work, and he was not. Unfortunately, I don't have details on what exactly happened with him. My union rep buddy did say that I wasn't the only one that had been passing along issues for a while, but this was the first they could really do anything about. Being management, Soup wasn't part of the union, and the union rep wouldn't say much else other than it was settled. When a union rep tells you it's settled and they can't say more, my experience has been that they're absolutely right. The Soup kept his distance and didn't speak much to me afterwards outside of what was absolutely necessary.
The HOA demands that we follow their rules, but we aren't even in the HOA. Click the video on your screen so you don't miss the fallout of this one, and I'll see you there.